All right, guys, how everybody's doing? I hope you guys enjoy what we're about to do here. I've got Eric, aka Nerd Chronic, with me tonight. This is going to be the first time that we have actually gotten together to do this kind of new thing we wanted to do, and we've been talking about for a while. So I'm pretty excited about getting it jumped off. How you doing, Eric?
Good. Yeah, thanks for having me on here, man. I know we've been talking about this for a good while. Just because obviously the format of what we're talking about tonight is very, dear to me, like in terms of like the content creation, the artistic value behind it. And like we've chatted about this stuff behind the scenes, just for fun. And so we figured we might as well, sit down, do this in some official capacity.
Okay, so the idea is going to be with the show. We don't have any of the graphics. This is like the very first one, so like apologize for that. But as we go and we get a couple more here, we'll probably like change some of the stuff up. But the official name of the show is going to be called Trailer Seekers. And for those that don't know, the very first trailer that was done, especially in the United States, maybe there's some off the wall thing that happened in a different country, but for American theaters, the very first like actual trailer, like promo put together for a movie, was based on a movie called Pleasure Seekers. And we decided to name this show Trailer Seekers. Pleasure Seekers we could have named it that, but then it could have been all kinds of things. People wouldn't have known what they were getting into. So we're going to be watching trailers, and like I'm watching trailers as like a fan. I'm not even like really like a movie critic or whatever, but there's also been those times you watching trailers and you think it to yourself, why did they do this? Why did they make certain decisions and everything else? And like Eric's here to be that guy that we can bounce questions off of, or that we can talk about it, because Eric, as everybody knows around our space that we used to dive into, Schmoedown, made a lot of promos for the Schmoedown and everything else. So like he does a lot of editing and put these little short, like what a trailer to me is like a very short form of storytelling, right? Like you only got a couple of minutes and you're trying to tell a little bit of a story with that trailer, get people hyped for stuff. And that's what Eric did for the Schmoedown for a pretty good deal. And I think he's even did it beyond that for other projects. So that's going to be the thing. So like I said, our very first couple of shows, forgive us if everything doesn't work perfectly, or if we change some things. We may change like a little bit of the format. But for tonight's episode, we are going to center around something that's fitting to come out here pretty soon. So we are going to do a whole smorgasbord of trailers for Guardians of the Galaxy, starting out with Guardians 1 all the way through Volume 3 that's fitting to be coming out here soon. Anything you want to add to that, Eric?
No, like you said it all. Like really, yeah, we are going to be covering the Guardians films just because like tonight is actually the world premiere here in LA. And so like a lot of people that we know actually are out there right now. Corey Jandrew, Christian the Real Rejects, all those people, they're out there right now enjoying it as we speak. So it comes out next week, and I figured it'd be fitting to go through the kind of list of the trailers that came out, because I really have enjoyed the trailers for these movies. I think that's a huge part of kind of like how they became as popular as they are, is like the creativity that they were able to put into the trailers to match the style of them.
Oh, I totally agree. And something that's kind of cool with this is we're not just watching like the latest trailers for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and breaking it down. We're going to be going through 1 through 3, and you'll get to see, because there's been a matter of years in between, like maybe styles have changed. Maybe the MCU's gotten a little different on how they do things. Maybe they stay closer to the same than we think. So we're going to be able to break that down. But to be able to do that, we're going to watch the trailer here with you guys as the audience, and then afterwards we're going to talk about each one and kind of break it down just a little bit in between each one that we do. And we're going to start in numerical order. We'll start with the Volume 1 trailers. So let's go ahead and bring that one up, and let's do the thing. You ready, Eric?
Yep, that's it.
All right, let's do it. One thing I do want to kind of show is like they used to do this all the time, and I'm going to back up just a little bit to show this. But the whole I don't know too many trailers now that does this anymore. It has either the green or red band thing in front of it. Like most of the time, it dives right into the trailer. A lot of times now, it'd tell you if it's a red band trailer, which obviously means it's for possible rated R, like for grown adults and everything else. But
yeah, well, part of that is because the art and like the kind of marketing of trailers has changed, like you said, over the last decade or so since this movie came out. And so yeah, what it used to be is like, yeah, they would make like the trailer houses would make one trailer, like right, that would go out to like the theaters, like online for marketing as well, everything. So like these green bands and red bands would be at the top of everything that you see in theaters and online. Now, over the last, like, I'd say like 6 years or so, they custom make the trailers to be different for what platform they're going to be on. So the trailer that you'll see online probably won't have these green bands because they want to get you right into it, right? They want to jump you right into the trailer. They don't want to have you sit through 5 seconds of just like a blank slate or a static slate. So that you still will see these at theaters in front of the same trailers, though, because they
now. This is one of the things with this being our first episode, little thing right here. This is something I did not think about, but I just thought about because of what just happened. So 2 ways we could do this, Eric. We can watch it with no interruptions and then kind of like scrub back and talk about certain points, or we can actually do this to where we watch the trailer and then whenever we get to a certain point that I may have something to say about it or like ask a question about, I pause it at that moment. And then like if I see something, but if you see something, you say, pause it, and then I'll pause it. And then we talk about that particular thing as it's still on the screen. Which way you think you would want to do that?
I'm a firm believer and defender of watching a small package in its entirety first and then dissecting it afterwards. As someone who makes things like this, like, yeah, like if someone's experiencing for the first time, I really want them to just sit down and take it all in, like in one go, like, right, and then we can go back and like dissect it afterwards. Yeah, so I think I would prefer to do it that way.
There we go. Look at these guys getting a peek behind the curtain. You know what I'm saying? So let's do it. I'm hitting the play button. There's no returning after this. Yeah. Nostalgia right here, seeing this for the first time. I didn't know none of these characters.
No!
Yeah, hey, go, man. No problem. No problem at all.
Who are you?
Star-Lord.
Who?
Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw. Forget it.
We arrested these 5 on Xandar. Check out the rap sheets. Drax, aka the Destroyer, since his wife
First
and
time I
family
saw
were killed,
Drax.
he sent on a rampage across the galaxy in a search for vengeance. Gamora, soldier, assassin.
Actually, this is the first time I saw all these characters. I was like, who the hell are these?
Wanted on over 50 charges of vehicular theft and escape from lockup.
What the hell?
Groot. He's been traveling recently as Rocket's personal houseplant / muscle. Peter Jason Quill. He's also known as Star-Lord.
Who calls him that?
Himself, mostly. He's wanted largely on charges of minor assault, public intoxication, and fraud.
I didn't know how this machine worked.
I knew it was going to be funny, like as we went through. And the music.
Hey,
great too.
That's mine. You son of a... Hey, take those headphones off right now!
The Twin Jet. The Collector.
They call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What a bunch of a-holes.
Hooked on a feeling, I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. I'm hooked on a feeling.
All right, there we go. The first one in the bag there. That man, 2014. What a time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, like I even said a couple things during that I was like remembering, man, like just from back in the day, like seeing this trailer for the first time. I was not excited about this movie. I didn't even know none of these characters. I never read a comic book about these characters, and this was the first time I saw them. And I know like the first thing that I took away from even rewatching the trailer now, but even like remembering back when I first saw the trailer was like, okay, this is going to be the goofy fun, like everything is going to be a kind of a joke kind of thing. Maybe have some serious moments, but it's going to be a fun ride with some like cool looking characters. I didn't know how the raccoon was going to work out or the big tree guy that was going to be walking around. Like is this going to be like legit or just goofy as hell? But yeah, it brought back some of those kind of feelings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could tell too, there's like a different style in the trailers that are being done, like back in 2014. This trailer actually might have came out in 2013, to be honest with you, because this is probably like the first trailer
you're right,
out for the movie.
That's true. I think you're right. It probably was 2013, or maybe even or the late 2012-ish. What's interesting is revisiting it is how much time they take in the first minute or so. Like, because like you said, like this, a lot of people weren't super familiar with these characters. When this was about to come out, this was like a really big, test for Marvel to see like, okay, can we push the boundaries and like get people to invest in like characters that they're not familiar with, like Spider-Man or even Captain America and like Thor or whatever. So this scene like is so interesting because it's such a almost like compared to what trailers kind of evolved into within like just the following few years. It's kind of like a slow burn. It's a slow burn of like letting the scene kind of play out in like a small like condensed clip of what's going on in that scene. That combined with like then right after that is like the character lineup of each individual character, and giving us time to just like slowly like learn about them, like get them like a beat to like say who they are, their name, somewhat of their background. Like, it's so much ground to cover, and like they do it I think pretty well within that first minute or so. But like it's still like even then it's still like very, very almost like experimental and testy to try and do that. And it's also interesting, it's a byproduct of the time when, so within that first minute, you can hear in the background the music that they use is kind of like just generic like rock music. It's sort of just like underplaying like the exposition that we need to have for the trailer. It's not until like we get to the second half when they bring in the Ooga Chaka music. And I think that is like a better representation of like what James Gunn's style was, what the style that they want to have for like their trailers, like kind of moving forward after that. I think, stuff like that is what really resonated with audiences. I think Disney and Marvel like probably saw like, okay, people really dig like the pop music kind of going over it, like, the beats of the music matching the kind of rhythm of that. I think that's kind of like why we do have a lot of like, more kind of flashy trailers now set to like a lot of like, classic songs.
Oh yeah, it seems like all the time. I personally think because everybody loved the trailer so much that Logan really super kicked off that. The trailer for Logan when it had Johnny Cash's song behind it and everything else, and it was like that. It just seemed like everything after that. Even like another trailer from the MCU, they're using like Led Zeppelin, when Thor is trying to come down with his axe or whatever and everything else. One of the things that I picked up on from this trailer, especially from like rewatching it, was like in this moment right here, I felt like, okay, so the very beginning, this is going to be like Indiana Jones. I mean, it's super reminded me of like an Indiana Jones style scene. He walks up to this pedestal with something he's trying to get on there. He gets it, and then all of a sudden something bad happens. Indiana Jones is a big boulder coming after his ass. And then this one right here, it's kind of like a setup trap because you have all these people show up with like their guns and weapons to take him out for taking this piece of memorabilia right here. So like I got a Big Daddy Indiana Jones feel from that.
Yeah, same. I think that's what they're trying to invoke too. Like it's like very similar, just in terms of framing and like what he's trying to grab. Something I did notice here too when we're watching it is the couple. I think there's only like 2 or 3 shots in it that aren't in the final movie. One of them being once we get to the second half and we get to like the kind of ramped up footage of everything, we see a shot of like Gamora like topless, like from behind. I think that's that's probably obviously to sell like the sexiness of like the movie, what it could be, right? But like I think they did take that out for the final edit of the film. If I had to guess, that was probably just a product of or it would probably be placed in the scene where they're getting suited up for the big battle at the end of the film. It seems like that similar setting, but just that, and then like one close-up long shot of Rocket shooting the gun at the very end, like that's on the movie, and it might just be a shot that they took out for pacing of the editing of the scene itself. But like for the trailer, I can see how that works really well. Like the pacing of the timing of that shot works as the last shot of the trailer because it's a really big crescendo. And so like him yelling, the kind of the flashing, the muzzle flashes, and like the movement of it panning across the screen, it's very good. It's a very good shot that I'm sure the trailer editors were very happy to use.
Yeah, like one of the things you brought up earlier was this particular parts right here where it's talking about and almost introducing the characters. And this is one of the things, like, right, like, so if you're a person that doesn't like spoilers, you don't really need to watch a trailer, period. You don't even need to watch like the first one or whatever.
Yeah.
But in a case like this, I think trailers are even more important for a movie like this because you don't know like what this is even about. You don't know who's in it. Like, well, you may have known like the actors and stuff like that was going to be in it, but these characters, a lot of people knew nothing about them. I thought this was a very smart maneuver where, and like you said, this is actually in the movie as well. But in this trailer, having this like longer scene of each individual character come out that hasn't already been introduced. Like Star-Lord was already introduced at the first part of the trailer. So in this part, it's introducing you to all these like crazy characters that Star-Lord, like this regular human guy that doesn't seem to have any special abilities except for probably trying to steal stuff and fly in a jet. He has this team, this ragtag team, and now we're being introduced to this team. So I actually think in particular, like a movie like this, it's good to watch the trailers to kind of, so you don't go in completely blind. And I like that because in this particular thing, I knew what these characters were from this short section of the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I said, it's a lot of ground to cover for new audiences to learn about these characters. Yeah, so I'd be interested to see how they then try to step that up in the second trailer.
Right, and it's like because like we know Groot got him on the screen right now, but Groot was voiced by, if I'm not mistaken, Groot was voiced by Vin Diesel.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken. So like everybody was like, Vin Diesel's in the movie. Nah, I mean he was, but he literally says one word, and that's it. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, he's in the movie. Like he did record like different inflections of the phrase "I am Groot" for them to use, and then he did voice it subsequently for the other films too, even as baby and teenage Groot.
Right, and in particular, they show like Star-Lord's immaturity here. You know, he's over here, he's like doing the whole like thing that we all did when we were like 10 years old, where he's like doing the Jack in the Box middle finger here. And I love like the cool thing that they did, like obscene gesture imminent. There's funny, like it maybe when you're watching a movie, you don't notice all these things. Even watching the trailer, you might not even see all these little things that are around there. But like just this little moment right here where they use this to like take away the middle finger and stuff like that. You know that he's just like immature character, right? That's just going around doing all kinds of things, jokes around a lot.
Yeah.
But I also liked, and you know, this is something that always happens in trailers with the summer thing, telling you about when it's coming in. But something I really did like about this trailer though is even though it showed his goofiness in this moment right here, where like his music player is getting taken. He doesn't seem like he has a care in the world. He doesn't care about anything. He's cracking jokes. He's doing the middle finger joke and everything else. But then his like Sony Walkman's getting taken away. And then he actually shows emotion. He actually gets pissed off. He's going to do whatever he can to get that. I think that's a creative thing as well, because you know, just from watching the trailer, that Walkman and that music that he has, that he listens to, has some kind of semblance. It means something. It's important to him for some reason. I even thought that was cool how they snuck that in the trailer.
Yeah. And it's right. It's important because like, again, coming into 2013, 2014-ish when this was released, everyone knew Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec. Like they knew him as like the funny guy from Parks and Rec. So there was like this kind of learning curve for everyone to get used to him, like being like the action hero for this. Like I think it was like people weren't down on it, but people were like questionable and like a little like apprehensive that they were having him as Star-Lord. I know people who knew the character were going to be like, oh yeah, that could fit because he's like Star-Lord, supposed to be kind of like a cavalier sort of fun guy. But like I think people had to buy into him being like an action hero for this, and that's why they had to have like kind of moments of like seriousness. They had to have like the money shot of him like with his shirt off, with all the muscles and everything, so you can see how ripped he actually is now. It's all those kind of like calculated small snippets to make you really buy into who he is as the character.
This is the last thing that I'm going to talk about in the trailer, and then I'm going to let you say any last words you wanted to do before we jump into the next one. But
Sure.
I really love this scene too, man. It's like one of those things, like I said, when you watch it for the first time, you're not paying attention to. But as you kind of break it down and look closer at it, it's like, I love the fact that like you got Quill over here, Star-Lord yawning, you got Rocket just looking straight ahead with his arms crossed, you got everybody, no one's looking at anybody here, and there's supposed to be this team that's going to get the job done, right? Yeah. But it showcases that like these people aren't, like, at this moment they're not a team. We're showing you as this team becomes a team and the story that they're going to go on to become a team. But at this moment, at the very beginning, these people, they don't even really like each other at this moment, right? Gamora is not trying to look at nobody. Groot's out here looking in outer space. Drax is the only one that looks like he even cares about looking at any of the other people here. Maybe he's checking out Gamora. He thinks she's hot or something, but like nobody's looking at anybody like trying to give them a fist bump and say like, yo, bro, we about to save the galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, it's the money shot, it's the team shot, and like I think it is important to differentiate, but for the audiences, that this is a team movie, which we didn't have yet in the MCU. Besides, like maybe Avengers, like people were kind of getting the sense of like that, finally. But having this as a one-off, first film of these characters in the series, like it's important that James Gunn was like, yes, this is a team-based story. So it's about these characters as a collective, not just like Star-Lord as the main guy, and like with his sidekicks. Like it's a family unit. And again, this shot isn't even in the movie. Like the shot's not in the movie; it's just for the trailer, like to help you like understand that dynamic. Because like they don't meet Drax in the movie until they're already in the prison, and like that, then they become the team while doing that. So yeah, it's like something they definitely went into this like knowing that these type of like shots are going to be very important to sell the dynamic to audiences.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything with that. And like, I thought this was a very good trailer to set up a movie with new characters. I thought it was done very well. And even after you go back and look at it, it's still done very well. It's still a great trailer, even in today's standards to me, especially if this was like the first movie of another like team up style movie. I started liking this group of ragtag individuals because of the fact that like none of them really has these like great powers, Yep. Drax has a little bit of something going on, but he's really just strong and beefy in most, that's what he usually uses in most cases. I mean, he's obviously can like, he's very strong and everything, even stronger than what he looks like. Rocket Raccoon, just a raccoon that's wily. You know what I'm saying? He really doesn't have any special powers. Groot's the only one with the true powers, being able to extend his arms and everything and grab stuff like that and everything. But Star-Lord's just a human, and Gamora is just an alien race of a female alien that's like from a different planet, but like, and she's a really good fighter, and you find that out when you watch the film. But she doesn't have this like overpowered ability or anything like that. She's just really good with guns and weapons, and she's been trained, that we find out later on, by Thanos. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I thought that was overall pretty cool. You got any last things about that trailer before we move on?
No, I think that's good. I think I want to see, like I said, I want to see how they then stepped it up for the next one.
Well, let's do that. Again, we got the green band, baby. Let's start her up.
Still has to be there.
I'm from Earth, a planet of outlaws. My name is Peter Quill. There's one other name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
Who?
Well, Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw. Guys?
Using that same joke.
Forget it. So here we are. A thief, two thugs, an assassin, and a maniac. But when I'm gonna stand by as evil wipes out the galaxy, I guess we're stuck together. Partners.
Are you telling me the fate of 12 billion people is in the hands of these criminals?
Oh, yeah.
Music is awesome.
I look around, you know what I see? Losers. But life's giving us a chance.
Something good, something bad, bit of both.
There goes that thing you talked about.
I don't got that long a lifespan anyway.
Hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
You are.
Ain't
You
no
are.
thing like me except me.
They call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy.
My man had to adjust himself.
This might not be the best idea.
I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing.
Right. Yeah. So, like I was saying, like I think recalling what the zeitgeist was at the point after the first trailer, I think everyone really liked that one. Like the first one, they latched onto it. So I think that kind of gave Marvel and Disney like the leeway to be like, okay, we can kind of like pick this up, so you can see in the first, like, I'd say 20 seconds, like we really start moving through like this stuff, like that we open with the same scene, right? But now it's like condensed even shorter. Like they are able to like pick up the pace, get into the opening title much faster. You get into the pop song a lot sooner, and so then you keep up like the momentum and the rhythm as for the rest of the trailer. And like it becomes something that's like really iconic now for like how they make their trailers. And it's the type of like music that's almost like it's fun, it's poppy, it plays sort of against the action. It's not like a hard, cool rock song or anything. It's like a classic, it's an oldie, like, right? And so like using it to play against like the action in the trailer, I think it does set like the right tone for what the movie is, for what James Gunn wanted to do with it, which is like this kind of like, yes, like nostalgic, like throwback to like, like the vibe of like for the Guardians, not just like the new team that has like, all the cool, killer music and stuff like that. It has to be something that represents, I guess, something special to him, something special to the characters as well.
No, yeah, I totally agree with all that you just said. I'm probably going to agree with almost everything you say because, like I said, you're the professional. Now, with me, this is like a trailer that adds layers. Okay, so like you said, that's why I kind of went back to this moment right here. We got that first scene again, but we got it clipped a little bit differently, edited just a little bit differently. They used the same joke from the first one. And it's because they want to make sure people realize this is going to have a lot of funny moments. Here goes a serious scene. We got a OK Corral showdown going on right now, but Home Dude's still going to find a way to have a joke, or they're going to find a way to do a joke in the scene. But the one thing they didn't show us in the very first one is like you thinking, oh, is this supposed to be the lead bad guy and everything else? Possibly, the gentleman that talks to him that first time. Nah, they expand on that scene now, and we see how he escapes.
Yeah.
Right. He's in a bad position. In the first trailer, you don't see anything. And then in this one, you see that he escapes. So now you're probably piecing together, if you're someone watching this trailer at the time, oh, this is probably the first scene of the movie. We're probably going to have Star-Lord show up to take this thing, and then stuff starts happening from there. And you kind of get it and stuff like that. And this is like the first real shot of Star-Lord wearing his whole outfit, his mask, and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. We get a lot more imagery of like certain scenes. Like we even get like a hint of like the tension, which is like Ronan, like the antagonists and stuff like that. Like in the first trailer, we didn't get any sense of like what the conflict is. Like we now see here, kind of like what they're on some sort of like ambiguous mission to like save everyone from evil, so on. And they have like very brief lines alluding to that. Some more action between everyone and fight scenes. It's funny though, is like you can so thinking about like why we're able to see some more stuff of like him escaping and things like that is because like they're still kind of like polishing up like VFX as like these trailers are usually coming out. So sometimes you'll see like certain shots aren't even like 100% finished in this. Like in this, I think in the other trailer too, there are shots in there of like some of the action scenes that don't have like 100% of the elements that will be in there for the final film. And just part of the art, the dance of like getting around those things to make it still compelling without like showing too much.
Yeah, I stopped right here because this is like the iconic scene of the first big bad for this group to be. This is Ronan the Accuser right here.
Mhm.
With his big ass hammer and everything. He's walking off the throne, and I just remember seeing this dude's like, oh man, here we go, baby. Big Daddy coming out. He's sitting on the throne too. He's trying to be like his own version of Thanos here.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's got some kind of like deal going on. And I thought that was kind of cool. It's the first revelation of the bad guy, the true bad guy in the film. We get it in the second trailer leading out to there. Looks like a big, huge ship or something that he's got behind him there. But yeah, man, like just really cool stuff going in there. Now, the one thing I noticed as well as like the trailer kept going on and it got further down into it was we got these clips of like the characters, and last time there was nothing said. It was just like the character's name in the show, in the movie coming in, and all that kind of good stuff. And then we come to this one and it's like all the heroes, but they didn't just show us like the actual like the good guys and just their character names in the movie. They actually told us who was playing each and every individual one.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool because, like in the first one, we're just worried about the characters and who in it. That second one, they let us know who's playing these characters, the actors and everything else.
Yeah.
Some of the characters, which is a big thing for the characters that you can't really obviously tell. Like Star-Lord and Drax, you can tell who they are, Dave Bautista and Pratt, but like the other ones you may not be able to tell as easy. Obviously, there's two of them are fully CGI. Talking about the raccoon. Well, the raccoon, I don't even know. They may have had I don't know if he was full CGI or if they had a puppet for him. But I think
they had some motion capture. They had Sean Gunn on set doing some of the motion capture acting with them as they were doing some of the scenes.
Yeah, and talking about that, Sean Gunn almost got himself in trouble possibly because he was doing an interview and he was saying like this is going to be a swan song as Rocket Raccoon, and everybody's saying that he kind of accidentally, because he said that, he let out a big spoiler for this third movie. I don't particularly think so. I think he's just an older guy now, and like to be able to motion capture as a small raccoon, you've got to like get down into weird positions and stuff like that to be able to do the movements. And I just think the guy's getting older and he's just like, man, I can't do this crap anymore.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler in any sense. I think James Gunn's been very transparent that this is like this new movie will be the finale essentially for this team in this iteration, one way or another. Like, I don't know if that means, someone will die or not, but like it does mean, I think that people will depart in some climactic way that will feel like a nice resolution, just like their arcs for the last decade or so.
Yeah, I just stopped right here because this is that scene that you were talking about from the first one that was really quick. It was a lot more slowed down. And it was very noticeable in this one.
It was a tighter shot on the first one. It was like, I think like from her, almost like her shoulders up. It's clearly just like saying something they shot. Maybe we thought about using. Maybe they just shot it for the trailer. It could be possible. They just did it for the trailer, like just to show some like sex appeal. But like they had no intention of actually using it in the movie.
Right. I think the biggest part about this one as well is as you see like Drax and Ronan getting into it right there, and you see the emotion on her face, and Groot doing his little silly stuff. But I think the biggest part, and this is where they started saying the names of like the different characters and who they were and who was playing them. But like you see moments in here now, like we had the first trailer where I noticed that they had the scene where they're standing next to each other in the lineup. They're not even wanting to look at each other. They probably don't even like each other at that point. But then you're seeing things like Star-Lord walking in while she's changing her clothes, and he's like was putting on his shirt as well. And then like you get the moment right here where they're looking at each other. And as I go through here, there's another scene where you actually get like what's going to be a possible now they're walking together as more of a team here. But there's also a point to where later on, almost at the end of the trailer, was a scene where you see them about to kiss. He's wearing his headphones and she's like coming up to him for a kiss. And that, like, to me, that's like the progression. Like now, there's going to be this group of people. They don't like each other. They don't care for each other and everything else. And but we got two of these characters possibly falling in love, like having a love story. And then, you see them come together as a team to start saving the galaxy and everything else. So that was like a pretty cool progression from both of these trailers.
Yeah, I guess they try to kind of give you a little taste of like the arcs that are gonna be going on, so you can understand where they're gonna be leaving this especially for the MCU. Like people have to kind of know like where they land in this. But it's interesting, talking about Rocket and Groot and stuff like that. It was also a big deal at this time because we didn't know what Bradley Cooper's voice was going to sound like for Groot. I mean, for Rocket.
Right.
So like that was like a part of it. It was like it says and Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon, and we get to hear like a couple of sound bites of him speaking. Like that was like everyone sort of waiting to see like what was that going to be like? What was he gonna was he gonna do the voice for the character? And so this is like our first taste of that.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I think that all the things on there is good. Now, before we go on to the second volume, because we'll be watching some of the ones for Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Mm-hmm.
Before we move on there, any like technical things that you noticed in these two trailers, or maybe did you see anything that possibly you would have changed maybe with them, or do you think that these were just two great put together trailers leading up to the movie with nothing that you would want to change period at all?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because like the things that do stick out to me are, like I said, are the things that are kind of products of their time. Like in the first trailer, the sort of slow pacing of that, first half. Like if I had to give notes on like a trailer, I would say like we should probably condense this down. But I do know, as they were making them back then, like they kind of needed that sort of landscape to sort of take things slow, build up some of the information and exposition that people need for the characters. So like I think it's probably is the smarter move to like, at least if you can, slow things down a notch, trust people to have the attention span to listen to the trailer for that first minute or so. Other than that though, like I think both trailers, when they pick up into like the kind of more momentous part of their swing, I do like both. I think both are done really well. I don't think there's anything in it that sticks out to me as like a flaw or like a misstep. I think they probably put a lot of meticulous effort into making sure those things flow really well.
Now, so are you saying that like today, if you were to do a movie trailer today, so you're saying you wouldn't put like say the slower burn like we especially saw in the first trailer for this movie? You saying you wouldn't want to do that at all, period? Or is it like a movie to movie basis, right? Like if it's maybe a dramatic film, maybe you want that like slow, like walking slow, like build up or whatever for a particular tension style thing to try to build up there. Are you saying that you didn't like that style from the older one, or that you liked it, but you don't know if it would work for today's audience?
I liked it. Like, and there are trailers today that do kind of start slow, build up, and some of them do it really well. And you can do that with the right tone and like the right execution. To me, for the first trailer, it's more so like the exposition, like the idea that there is no kind of like rhythm to it. It is really just like we sit with them for a good 30 seconds to a minute, kind of just like static shots, them standing there talking. It is kind of just like a long clip of like the characters explaining to you what this is, who these people are. And it's risky. I think just in today's climate, it's risky to kind of like try and ask audiences to sit there and kind of listen to that. I think, again, it's different though. It's different like because like the MCU was like kind of hitting such a hype train at that time in 2013, 2014. So people were like really just interested in any sort of tidbit of like, oh, what's next? What are we going to see next from these characters from the franchise? I think if I were to make it today, depending on who the character is, what the IP is, and so on, like I probably would try to move things a little faster, but it's hard to say without knowing exactly where the audience is in terms of their trust with the IP.
All right, so we're going to move on to volume 2 here with the first trailer for volume 2. Here we go. Nice to see like what they change or what they keep the same.
Yeah.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me.
Going to the classic.
You just don't realize what you do to me when you hold me in your arms so tight. You let me know everything's
going back to the
There are
classic
two types of beings in the
like
universe.
music.
Those who dance and those who do not.
I get it, yes. I am a dancer, Gamora is not.
You just need to find a woman who is pathetic. Like you.
Thanks,
Wow.
buddy.
Nice.
You need a hug.
No, I do not.
Nah, man, take a hug.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought I
go
said
ahead, take
no.
a hug.
You're welcome.
Hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go, right there. There goes the first trailer of the second movie.
Which is
so
labeled
anything big.
Yeah, it's labeled as a sneak peek. So that's like that was before it was even like sort of labeled as their first official trailer. That was like, when the movie was starting to come out, the publicity was starting to make its way onto the internet. They put that out as like, okay, like, yes, be ready. Like, they're coming back. And I forgot exactly what year this was released, but it was like some time. It felt like some time had passed between the first film and this one, enough for people to be like, oh yeah, like I remember these characters. Cause like, again, like you said, it's almost like a throwback to itself, having the same song from the first trailer. It invokes, that kind of sense memory of people being like, oh yeah, like this song that I now relate with these characters, like it's a fun sort of nostalgic thing that they're able to kind of capitalize on. And I really love this first shot. This is like of the characters, in this like sort of sequence of like open, fade to black, open, fade to black. This shot of Gamora just like very briefly being in frame and slowly going off. That sort of tease for like a sneak peek type like trailer. It's fun. It's like it evokes like a sense of interest. It evokes like a sense of like mystique to it. Like it gets like people like really hyped about it without having to even like do a lot of work to really sell them on any sort of visuals. Like you get the memory, you get the song, you get everything in there, and like they kind of just do the work for you with like their sort of memory of like how much they want to see these characters again.
Yeah, like I love the fact they kind of like made the song a little more dramatic at this moment right here, as you were saying, as like had characters kind of walking by the screen and then fading to black and showing like a different character and stuff. It had like a little more of an ominous feel to it. It's like, okay, so they're going to get possibly more serious in this movie. But then we soon find out as the trailer keeps rolling that like that's probably not going to be the case, because we jump after being real serious. We jump into like some of the funny stuff, but right here at this moment, like you said, like going through the characters here, it was like a more serious kind of tone and everything else. Like you said, they fade to black. They keep it on black for a little while to kind of build that up.
Yeah, like they have the music is muffled and echoed with like the filter kind of going through it, and like we don't even have any dialogue or sound bites running through it. It's just like the visuals and the music kind of guiding you.
Right, we see her sister for the first time, and as you see, she's not like totally robotic now. So like as everything progresses, she gets more and more robotic, and everything else. You got Star-Lord, of course, but like got their Quinjet again, and I can't remember who this because I don't think this is Gamora right here. This is another person like just getting blown up into this thing.
Yeah, these are the Ravagers that Rocket torments in the woods.
That's right. But yeah, like but then it gets more loose right here about this part in the trailer. Like you said, it's kind of more of like a sneak peek, and then we get the moment like that. I was like, bro, I love this character. Like I liked Drax from the first film, but I really liked it. Like I love the fact that part of the sneak peek was this particular scene right here.
Yeah.
Where we got Drax, who seems to be this very serious and ominous guy all the time, right? It's either life or death, whatever. And he says these things, and it's like Bautista does such a great job as the character, because he does it perfectly. Because you see this guy, you're like, there's no way he's a big dork or anything like that. But he portrays like, and it's so funny whenever he says things that are supposed to be so serious. The way he portrays it is just really super good.
Yeah, Bautista is a real gem of these movies. Man, he was such a great breakout, star of this series, and now he's a fantastic actor in his own right for other things too. But yeah, his ability to just deliver these like really deadpan, silly lines is very, very good. And like I think they realized that with the first film and everyone's response to him. So like they're like, okay, we can give him some more stuff here, and for the sneak peek, like it's obviously a great way to close it out with him in this whole bit.
Yeah, that's him with the hug, man. Never turn down a hug. That's what I believe. But I love the fact that, like I said, you watch the first movie, you watch the first trailer. There's no reason to really describe these characters anymore. The movie done well. It made money. Most of the people that's going to be coming in to see the second movie now is going to know the characters, going to know what they're all about. I know that, like, at the end of the first one, there was like the big thing that people were a little worried about because we had the possible demise of Groot and everything else. But there we see him as the first time as little baby Groot, baby Groot right there, which possibly spread the seas for Disney to throw a little baby Yoda out there for everybody. And man, you start thinking about it, you're like, man, did they see how good baby Groot did for everybody? And this, take Yoda, man, turn him into a baby. Now he's cute. Like, let's do it. It possibly is what happened with that. Yeah,
it's what Drew calls the baby propaganda from Disney to get viewers to start having babies of their own, so they have a future audience to keep selling to.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like I said, it seems to be working all the time. But let's move on to one of the more official trailers for that second movie, and let's see what's different about it and what they add to when they have more time.
Hope you're ready. It'll be here any minute. Is that a rifle?
You don't know what a rifle looks like?
It's just sort of a thing, and guns were mine. But I guess we're both doing guns now. I just didn't know that.
Well, that's intense.
Oh yeah, look at this dude. Nice.
I see it within you. Fear, jealousy, betrayal. It is our duty to cleanse the universe of this weakness.
You know, they told me you people were conceited douchebags.
I love this song,
but
actually.
that isn't true at all.
Dude, I'm using my wrong eye.
Groot, put your seatbelt on!
Yep. There goes the trap we saw like in the teaser.
Yep. Awesome! We're really going to be able to jack up our price for two-time Galaxy Savers.
Man, what a gun. Die spaceship.
Sometimes the thing you're searching for your whole life, it's right there by your side all along.
You're right.
All you do is yell at each other. You're not friends.
No, we're family.
Except maybe her.
Yeah, exactly.
After all these years, I've found you.
And who the hell are you?
I'm your dad, Peter.
All right, so obviously they building up. You go from like the teaser style trailer to now the official trailer, and things get ramped up just a little bit. We find out way more than what we did in that little teaser thing. I mean, we see Quill meeting his dad for the first time on a trailer. It wasn't even in the movie. That's something we can discuss towards the end of this one. But and I think it's one of the things that trailers end up doing to me is like they show you these little snippets, and if you're not paying attention, you think, oh my God, they're showing us like a bunch of different scenes in the movie, but not really, right? That scene of the very first monster that they fight, and they kind of did that for the first movie as well, the very first scene. So in this movie, we know they fight that big octopus, like different armed monster at the very beginning of the film. That's one of the first things they do. a lot of the shots that we're getting is just different angles and different parts, and it's not showing the monster. So they're being creative. They're using like maybe a 5-minute scene in the movie to create like all these different things that makes you think that you're seeing way more than what you truly are.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of creative cutting in it to get around. Yeah, making sure that the context of what you're seeing does not add up to anything conclusive, so you're not putting things together for the movie itself to spoil your enjoyment. But also, like I said before, like they're probably dancing around some unfinished shots as well too, like things that need some more polish for the final product. And that way, you keep things moving in the trailer. It's a good way to just keep everyone on their toes in terms of like trying to believe what they're saying.
Oh yeah, nah, it's straight up. I thought that one right there did a really good job, and it's something I big time notices because like a lot of this stuff right here. See, like this is another shot of the octopus. A lot of their dialogue lines, and stuff like that is coming from that area. Even this cute little shot of the baby Groot plugging in like the music and stuff. I love the music, man. They went and did a little Fleetwood Mac. You know what I'm saying? And so that got me hyped. We see those same guys we saw in the trailer. Like you said, they got terrorized by our man Rocket, and we actually see that he put the trap up there. We're seeing Yondu here. My man's got his little whistling needle he's got that's taken out. We see these crazy people painted in gold like all over the damn place. Like what's happening there? We just got a lot of things that we got in this trailer like mixed in and stuff like that. And like one of the things we know, they became a team in the last one. So what happens when you're a team and you go into the second movie? There's got to be something that's happening that causes maybe a little bit of strife, maybe some rivalry. I think they even say it in the trailer here, like some jealousy and everything else.
They're giving us a lot for the trailer, even compared to like what they were trying to give us for the first trailer for the first film. They're showing us like this is they're going to cover a lot of ground in this, like, right? They're going to cover like fighting the Sovereign, like the gold guys, all this stuff, and like they really, I think, wanted to kind of jam pack this one with like as much fun visual as they could to like get people hyped about it coming back. And for the baby Groot stuff too, like that was like a big selling point as well. Like you said, it's a good precursor to Baby Yoda. And it's funny in that shot of when he's plugging in the thing, like again, that's a shot just for the trailer. That's not in the movie of him doing that action. He's just turning on like a boombox, I think, in the final film, and he's not even wearing the clothes. He's just like naked Baby Groot in the movie itself.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, but that you could tell that was something they shot with the same background and stuff of the fight scene that we end up seeing. Scenes like this right here is when you break them down, you actually take a second to look at them. Is something like this is the Platoon moment of the movie. If anybody's watched the movie Platoon from back in the day, he's on his knees, he's yelling, he's possibly about to die or whatever. It almost makes me think of sometimes if a director out there has ever had the idea where they basically make a movie but surround it with like some of their favorite scenes and shots from all kinds of movies, but blatantly don't do it like exactly the same. But almost everything they show is like a homage from like another movie they grew up and watched. Because like you said, like you kind of, get some of your ideas and stuff from some of the things that you love and everything else. But we got this, I thought it was like a beautiful scene right here of them dancing and everything else. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I really like this shot. I like this moment of Gamora with her title card, and then the cut of like the music with her shooting that gun and like the yell that they use for the soundbite, like them that carrying over. It's like a good momentum. It's a good pace and flow to it for like this little section of like the character name cards.
Right, exactly. We see Mantis for first time in this trailer, which is like a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy and everything else. She fits that super funny role. We go back to what we saw in that first original teaser trailer here. With the funny joke, but they do it differently because he like scares him because he spooks up on him or whatever at this moment, because he's just like staring out there and not paying attention, and then all of a sudden Drax says something, but it's like a perfect moment because it's a moment where Star-Lord would get scared, so they do a perfect edit into something else where he does jump or whatever and get scared. So I thought that was like she done like really well. It's like one of the things, like, just there's these characters all together here. You see Yondu, so now you're kind of confused because you also see her in the trailer, like going after Gamora.
Yeah.
You know that Yondu is not like their best friend or anything. So at this point, you see something like this, and it's like, wait 1 second, it looks like they're all teaming up.
Yeah.
But maybe they're having to team up reluctantly, which I think is kind of cool because in the first movie, that whole team had to become like a new team. They had to come together. So them throwing a couple of extra characters in there that maybe throwing a loophole and everything, and like have them two characters have to come together with this new family, adding on to the Manus and everything else. I think it's a pretty good thing.
It's a tough thing to parse because, like, you don't want to spoil like their involvement, right? You don't want to like show too much of them becoming part of the team, but I think it's really important to like emphasize like what their role is in this, because like Nebula and Yondu became, I think, such fan favorites from the first film, probably even more so than they maybe even intended. But like having them come back, I think they like probably were thinking like, yeah, it'd be great if we could have them come into the fold, be part of the team. That way we can market this as like a larger cast. Like we have more options to play with, because like you can't always show as much of like the antagonists, for the film. You got to always focus on the heroes. So once you have more heroes, you have more fun kind of stuff and visuals to play with.
Oh yeah, exactly. One of the greatest things I thought that came out of this trailer right here, I love that saying, like, it's basically like, y'all not even really friends. All y'all do is yell at each other. And, it's like, nah, we're family.
Yeah.
And the different dynamic you have of people that are around you, even if they're just friends, even if they're not like biological family or whatever, but some of your friends get so close to you and everything else, they're basically our family. And I think that's a cool notation into this trailer. Is like, now we're family. So now, we're going to have our fights and stuff like that, but that's how it is. It's never going to like totally break us apart kind of feel, which I think is like pretty cool. Like for people, not just watching movies, but people around the world, man. Like, cause like I got a group of friends that the saying is like, friends are the family that you choose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a difference. You're stuck sometimes with some crappy family members. We all got at least one or two of them out there that we really don't want to have a lot to do with, and everything else when it comes to actually family and blood relatives. But like the friends is very important. Like pick them like if they're going to be your family and stuff, and then keep them around if they're worthy enough. So I actually like that throughout this trailer, but you can also see that they pick it up. They do a lot more action set pieces and stuff like that. There's not as much playing around or any of that stuff. It's like one scene. And like I said, it could confuse you a whole lot.
Totally. Yeah. By design, I'd say though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Like 100% by design.
Yeah. But yeah, the last part of the trailer is just like that reveal with Kurt Russell, just like that. He's, Peter's dad coming into the story. And that was a very controversial moment for when that came out with the trailer. A lot of people were upset. They're like, why would you show that in the trailer? Like that would have been a great reveal for the movie. Like, why would you spoil that for us? But I think it's obviously you want to show Kurt Russell, like, right? You want to show off that he's going to be in the movie. Like he's such a big draw for audiences of like multiple generations. So like you got to focus on him being involved in the film. And I think it's once if that's a tough part of like being behind the scenes when you're cutting the trailer, is like you have the knowledge that this isn't like that big of a spoiler because like it happened so early on in the film. So when you're making it, you kind of like, I feel like we can sacrifice like the mystery behind this to get like a good pop from people, coming in to like understand like that he's in the movie. But yeah, from the outside in, if you're seeing it for the first time, I can see why people would be upset that it seemed like a big spoiler.
Oh yeah, totally. 100%. We are going to go in, actually, Eric, I messed up, and then like one of the ones for we actually had 3 for volume 2, but we're only going to have 2 because
let's move on. Let's move on to volume 3. Let's get into
so now we're getting into the nitty gritty. We're getting into the stuff that's like right here. We're right here next to it. It's coming up, and we have Guardians of the Galaxy volume 3. The progression from 1 to 2, because I'm going to tell you, I loved the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Like highly rated, probably one of my favorites. I actually think the new Dungeons and Dragons movie took a lot from Guardians of the Galaxy and the way they made that and the feel that they had it. That's why I love that Dungeons and Dragons movie. I wish it was making more money because that movie deserves a sequel because of how good it was done. Like it's the biggest surprise of the year to me, Dungeons and Dragons. But it had a lot of that Guardians of the Galaxy feel that I loved. Like I rated both of them like around 8.5, maybe even close to a 9 as far as scales, like introductions, especially to like a new world. And volume 2, I think they went too hardcore. You didn't see it as much as the trailers, but because I think some of the trailers had a more serious tone to it. We get into the movie theater and they joke so much. I knew some of the jokes were going to happen 10 seconds before they happened. Like I already knew what the funny part was about to be and everything else. So like I kind of went down a little bit with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm hoping I get lifted up for Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardian Galaxy Volume 2, I went down a little bit. Hopefully in this Volume 3, I get lifted back up. Seems like it's going to be a more serious tone, something that I'll be more excited to see because I'm tired of the jokes every time somebody's about to die, man. We don't joke when people's lives are in line. You know what I'm saying? Like in real life. So it gets to be where it's like just too much. But like you said, let's go on to the Volume 3 here and let's get started. This is the one they did 4 months ago. And it's the very first trailer, the first real trailer that came out for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
We were gone for quite a while. But no matter what happens next, the galaxy still needs its guardians.
Hello, we come in peace.
Come on, Drax. Seriously, dude?
No!
It's about to get real, boys. It's about to get real.
Don't forget where we came from.
We have been running our whole lives.
Pete, I'm done running.
He's done.
We'll all fly away together. One last time.
One last time. That's what they're saying.
Forever. That beautiful sky. We are
And we'll kill anyone who gets in our way.
No, not kill anyone.
Kill a few people.
Kill no people.
Kill one guy, one stupid guy who no one loves.
Now you're just making it sad.
All right, man. There we go. That's the first trailer for the new movie that's going to come out here pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you know, it seems much more serious, like much darker in terms of tone, and I think that's what they want to convey. Like they want to convey that this is like the last ride, like the stakes are high. Like we don't know, like who, if any, if multiple people will end up dying by the end of this. Like it's a big question that everyone has right now. And yeah, I think it's looking at the previous trailers, I think this is such like a interesting progression of like, almost like growing up, like maturing of like the franchise of the characters, like this is such like a really, really not dark, not like super serious, but like a sort of like somber sort of tone for the trailer.
Oh yeah, and like, look, I love a shot like this right here. This is why I go watch stupid things that I don't think is that good. Matter of fact, I think the humans should be thrown out of the monster movies. I think it should just be Godzilla versus King Kong. Nobody cares about the people's houses that get trashed. We don't care. Okay, we just want to see the monsters fight. I love scenes like this though. That's what made me think about it. You got this big ass ship coming down, and it's coming down into a community and stuff like that, and it's like crashing into these houses. These kind of scenes right here, what they can do with CGI, man. Like I remember movies like Spawn back in the day, or even like the first Mortal Kombat, and you try to watch one of those movies today and you see what they can, you try to watch one of those old movies today and compare it to the things that we get now. And some of that stuff is even like the cheap, like on the cheap now. Like you can do like some of this really good stuff now a lot cheaper than what you could back in the day. And that's the reason why, it probably didn't look as good at the time, but man, it's just crazy the advancements we got and these kind of things. But yeah, I love stuff like this.
Yeah, it's a fantastic shot. I mean, yeah, like you said, like the dwarfing effect of like the scale of like the ship to the scenery. It is very, very good.
Yeah, and also like a progression of the story, like you said, they're maturing, they're getting together, doing the thing. They're all wearing these like matching uniforms now. Where in the first two movies they were wearing their own stuff. Now there really are. It's showing that, oh man, we're finally like 100% a team. We survived 2 movies. We had bad things happen. We've been even parts of like other people's movies now. They they were part of the Infinity War and that kind of stuff. And here they are, coming together and like, they're dressed in unison, being part of the team. Here they are coming down after that ship comes down. We got this. I don't even know where the hell they're at. I kind of want to know, did they land on a furry convention, right? Is this like America and like they just happen to land in this community that just so happen to be having a furry convention? Or is this like another world that looks like Earth that has these random species laying around in it? Like, I just want to find out what the hell this is.
I assume it's like an Earth-like place with like a bunch of like animal people, humanoid people. Yeah,
exactly. Like, oh man, this thing right here, like cute as hell. Like, I just think it's funny as hell. They got the ball. Drax picks it up and like, does the wrong thing with it by hitting somebody with it that causes basically like a huge food fight. So you are going to have those fun moments, right? Like he's laughing his ass off right now because he don't care what's happening. Like we are going to have those fun moments, but I have the feeling it has to get serious. And the one thing that is starting to go, and these movies have progressed with the MCU over the years as well, is I want the serious moments to be serious. It's okay to joke afterwards. It's okay to joke a little bit beforehand. It's okay to joke during the movie. Nobody's saying that we need to take all the jokes out of the movie. Yeah. But when it's supposed to be the last ride, that's what you're calling it, the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie. They're probably lying because 7 years from now, the characters want to come back and do an actual last ride. Really, they probably do it if they think it'll make money. But this is supposed to be that final film. We know everything's got to be serious. There's got to be sacrifices made. And I don't want jokes during those sacrifices. I want to feel like that I've grown with this group of people and stuff and get into it. So I hope they don't make that same mistake. But like I said, in this trailer, you don't get that feeling. You get that like most of this movie is going to be serious, but then we're going to have them bumping into a random planet and, having some goofy moments with that.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, like I agree. Like, this is like being framed as like a last sort of hurrah for them. Like, yes, you want like the stakes and the tones to be consistent. You don't want this kind of like to turn to like a big joke, which I know was like a big criticism for the second film, and like the stakes that it had for that. But yeah, I like that we're seeing in this shot, like you pulled up right now with Rocket, that we're diving into his backstory, and James Gunn has said that he feels that Rocket is the real main character of this trilogy, of movies. And so like he kind of wants to take this as the opportunity to really explore his backstory, give him like as a resolution to like an arc that they've been exploring very slowly, throughout the all 4 films, the first 2 and the Avenger films. So I think, he's going to be the core focus here.
Yeah, so like I really think they're getting into the darkness of this whole thing. You see them coming out in this big crowd. A lot of really cool shots here. You got the Rocket Raccoon, like you said. You also see there was a couple of things in here, like this gentleman looks like that gentleman from the first movie. Like that's one of the things I've been questioning. Like, is this just a guy that looks like that guy from the first movie? Is this a totally different dude?
This is a new character. He's from the comics. I don't know much about him. I do know he's called the High Evolutionary.
The High Evolutionary. So he's the guy that's doing all these things like Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah,
he's trying to basically give people without powers. He's like this scientist guy. I think he has powers of his own, but like really and truthfully, he's trying to build up an army. So I know a little bit about what this guy is from playing Marvel Snap.
And
literally in Marvel Snap, he takes all the characters or the cards that have no abilities or whatever. They get secret abilities because he's part of your deck in Marvel Snap. So
he's played by Jwoody Uji from Peacemaker. He was John Cena's boss in that show.
Yeah, we got a scene shot right here. It looks like my man Drax gets shot right in the heart. I don't even know how he's still alive right now from looking at that right there, because that's like perfectly.
It looks like another prison break that they're doing. It looks like they're in like some prison jumpers for that. And what's interesting though is you're mentioning the costumes, like them having like a uniform now. Is a lot of the costumes that they're all wearing in this are very like they have a lot of coverage. So like it's like from like almost like from neck down, arm length, like shirts and stuff like that. Like it's all it covers a lot of skin in this, and I think that's probably due to the fact that they think Dave Bautista and Zoe Saldana at this point have earned not having to sit in the makeup chair for 9 hours, every morning before shooting. So they're able to kind of skimp over some of that coverage now with the suits that they're wearing.
Yeah, exactly. Like this right here, they're all like, they're going out in space. They're all kind of wearing the same kind of suit, just different colors.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. This is going back to Rocket Raccoon. Like I said, more of a serious tone here, definitely. It looks like there's some little bit of cheering, so maybe something good happens. We got this guy. We got him. Looks like he may be in the higher evolutionary chair here. He's obviously, like I said, some kind of sick doctor that's like does these experiments because he's the one that does this Rocket here. I'm interested in seeing what this other animal is here that my man Rocket was just hugging. So we get that. We have these guys like walking away. There's just a bunch of scenes here, and this looks like the monster from the second movie, to be honest with you. So I don't know if he's came back or
it must be probably a new one, probably another, maybe the high evolutionaries messing with it.
Exactly. So that's going to be pretty interesting. We got Mantis here, not a smile on that face.
Yeah,
that's obviously some pain. Rocket Raccoon, like you said, is probably going to have a big, huge story. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about with this trailer before we move on is I love the fact, and this, I don't know if you caught it or not, but I love the fact that Groot finally says something different.
Yeah.
And all the films leading up to this and all the films they were in that wasn't even Guardians of the Galaxy, it's I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot. At this moment, he says, "We are Groot."
Yeah, which I mean, to be fair, he does say that at the end of the first film, but like that is technically the previous Groot. Like the Groot that we lost at the end of that film right before he died. This is the first time like we're seeing this iteration of Groot say something new.
And I do love the fact of like how the Guardians of the Galaxy like emblem has changed.
Oh yeah,
got a little more pop and flair and everything else and all that. So like. Pretty crazy, man, like where they've come from and everything else. But let's move on to the next one.
This should be the final trailer, the most recent one that they've released, apart from TV spots and clips.
We've actually got two. So this one, right? I've got actually two more, actually. So for this one right here. So I've got one that was released even sooner, but let's go to the one right before that one. And let's see what they did that was different. Let's see here. Make sure I'm pulling up the right one. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's do it. All right, so this is the one that was released a couple of months after the one that we just watched. Let's see what's different about it.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm Star-Lord.
Some kind of song.
I formed the Guardians. Met a girl. Fell in love.
Yep.
That girl died, but then she came back. Came back a total dick.
Whoa.
Oh, please. He left out some important information, but that is the gist of it.
I get the same old dreams at the same time every night. Fall to the ground and I wake up.
My sacred mission
is to create the perfect society.
He didn't want to make things perfect. He just hated things the way they are.
Yep. Makes sense. Look, Skittles.
Among Us.
I want you all to know that I'm grateful to fight beside my friends.
Incinerate them. We were always searching for a family.
Gotta play some music. Cosmo. I'm excited about Cosmo. I ain't gonna lie. probably ain't gonna do nothing. I'm thinking, is that Adam Warlock?
For one
Yep.
last
time. We'll all fly away together. Into the forever.
Man.
And beautiful sky.
Whoever it was that you were in love with, it sounds more like her.
Her?
That's
Do not bring me into this. Knock it off! What?
Just never noticed how black your eyes were.
They were replaced by my father as a method of torture.
He picked a pretty set.
I do like one of the things I'll throw out there right now is it is like different. The one thing I do notice big time is the fact of like now we have those like you show the title screen and it doesn't end there. It's got to have a couple of more seconds afterwards. That's something that wasn't happening in the first ones, and now we have that happening in both of the ones for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah. This trailer overall is like compared to the other Volume 3 trailer that we just watched, it's a little lighter in tone. Like I think it still manages to convey like the level of like, you know, kind of like importance that this movie has in the trilogy, but I think it overall is like a much more lighter tones. Like it moves a little more poppy. It has like some more jokes kind of sprinkled in there throughout with it. But yeah, it's an interesting kind of construction. Looking at how they are able to show us like where they're going with this for Peter's character, for Rocket as well, giving us sort of flashbacks to the first film as well. Even Drax says the line like I'm happy to fight among my friends. That's like an echo to the first film when Gamora says I'm happy to die among my friends. You know, so like small things like that. It's little Easter eggs for those who might recall those elements. I think you're muted. I think you're muted, Justin.
I am muted. Thank you. That happens like at least one time every time I do a show. So I'm on par for that. But yeah, I totally agree 100% that like the stuff that you're bringing up is exactly right. You know, they got shots from the old movies. Now they've got 2 movies. And like I said, they could even pull up shots if they wanted to from, say, Infinity War, you know, or Endgame, you know, because they played part in those movies and stuff. So they've been in more than 3 movies involved in the MCU like universe and stuff here. I think it's going to be interesting because you got the 2 sisters here. You got Gamora being a totally different person because she did die technically, but then she was able to come back because of like the whole time things and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's funny in that moment, in that shot, like when we get, you know, through Peter's monologue of like what happened. He's like, she died, she came back, and so on. And Nebula says like, you kind of gloss over a few details, but that's the gist of it. Like that's basically, I feel like that's going to be the only information we get about Infinity War and Endgame. It's like, yeah, like that stuff happened. Like now we're here. Like now we're back to this.
Yeah, so like I think there is going to be some strife between them and stuff, and they're really going to play on to that first movie kind of feel where there's a reason why they have problems and stuff, but then they're going to grow into their relationship again and all that. We got the cool moment of like Rocket Raccoon and Groot right here doing their thing, shoulder riding, shooting everybody. That's one of the things they've done in a couple of scenes, like in either in the first or second movie, and they done it in one of the Endgame Infinity War movies. Here's, a big shot of Adam Warlock right here, which is a crazy character from the comic books. Yeah. I don't know how he's going to work into this, if he's going to be a straight 100% good guy, but there are times in the comics where he's bad. So he could be kind of like someone that goes up against there. I get a feeling that this is shot of one of the characters they think are probably dead or something like that, and they're kind of honoring them in that moment. It looks pretty sad and ominous right here in this particular shot. There's a lot of tears and stuff you can see like in some of the shots of the characters throughout. Like you said, there's like the funny moments and the cool moments that are happening, but behind that you do get that sense of like, you get that shot right there, right? It's perfect. He's doing his thing, looks like he's happy, looks like he's whooping ass, and then the very next shot we get is like he's obviously got a hole that went through his chest, you know what I'm saying? So like obviously something bad happened. They're going up against somebody else here. Here's the High Evolutionary floating around, doing his thing. and being a crazy scientist. Just some like, man, I'm getting a little pumped up for this because one of the reasons why, and we'll just keep it on this because I think this is a perfect shot about what I'm going to say here.
Mhm.
One of the reasons why I wasn't as hyped for this movie when they announced it was because of the fact I think they went backwards a little bit with Volume 2, like we was talking about earlier. And not only that, and it's not the Guardians' fault, but almost every film after that seems they have to do the same formula. Like, let's have some serious moments, but let's joke throughout the whole thing or whatever. And that's been tied. Now, like, I think Quantum Mania is not as bad of a movie as what people like reacted to it was. I just think if it would have been the 4th MCU movie, people would love it, I think, because it's still kind of new. It's still kind of fresh. But now people are just tired of the fact of like, bro, y'all saved the galaxy 10 times. And I think a total of 2 people is technically dead.
Yeah.
One of them ain't even dead. Captain America just old. Ain't even dead, right? Like Gamora dies, in this whole series, but like she's brought back in a way and all this stuff. So like, hopefully they don't do that kind of thing here. I don't think the whole team of Guardians of the Galaxy has to die here. That's not what I'm saying. But there has to be consequences of doing these things and fighting these deadly people because there will be sacrifices that has to be made in the real world. And it just kind of takes me out of it when there's not. But man, like I said, the way they're portraying this, hopefully they don't go back on this. They don't pull any punches and everything else. I think, if they do that, this could be a great movie. It could be one of the best trilogies. I think if they hit a home run with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it's one of the best trilogies, especially in the comic book genre, but could be one of the best trilogies of all time. I think the first one's that good. So like if this one right here would have knocked it out of the park, the middle one's not bad. It's just not as good as number 1. So let's see where they go. But like this scene right here, the pain, the anguish, how many people we see with the sad tears in their eyes. I want to leave the theater. I want to leave the theater teary-eyed.
Yeah.
Right. Not just because I'm sad because people are gone and characters are gone that I love, but also because like they were able to make this beautiful movie with big consequences and everything else and big sacrifices, but it has a lot of heart to it, right? Like that's something I think that needs to be there. And like I said, I want to walk out of this theater with tears in my eyes, but I want to be able to look back on it and be able to laugh and have fun with my friends talking about it, about the funny moments, of that little thing getting hit. I don't even know what kind of animal it's supposed to be, but that little thing getting hit by the ball from Drax, right? Like you can still go back and laugh a lot of this movie, but at the same time, you're coming out with the weight of the world on your shoulders. And I think if this movie does that, if I come out and it was goofy, probably not going to like it that much, to be honest with you. But if I come out and like my heart is aching, I've got a tear in my eye, but it was beautiful at the same time. Like, I think this could be a great film.
Yeah, I agree. And I do have faith that they could pull that off. Because, like you're saying, with like the MCU, people, the repetitiveness, people getting kind of, like maybe a little stale on the formula of it. I do think that James Gunn really cares about these characters in a way that like maybe some of the other directors don't care. Not to say that they don't care, period. I do think they're happy to be working on it and like they are interested in being there. But I think James Gunn really cares about these characters as like his kind of almost like personal creations that he's like looked over for the last decade. And I do have a lot of faith that he personally wants to send them off in like a really triumphant manner, be that sad, heartbreak and whatever. He wants to give them like a proper send off, not just like finish the trilogy and like I can move on to the next thing. Like, right. Like I think he really put in a lot of time and effort to make sure that this feels like full circle for everything. And so like I said, I also felt the same way about the second film. Like I think going into this one, like I just revisiting these trailers tonight and like I've revisited the first two movies again recently. I do feel like a lot of hope into that this film will stick the landing for the trilogy overall.
Yeah, I hope so. And like I actually think like this shot in the trailer is a mislead. Like I don't think Star-Lord's gonna die.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be the one that dies. I think this is gonna be one of those he almost died kind of things and everything else, but he's okay. But I do think there are going to be one or two characters, maybe even more than that. Maybe even half the team dies. But I think that this is kind of like a throwaway. Like when you see them doing something like this, to me, now they could be doing the whole Princess Bride thing where James Gunn's trying to outsmart us, where he's like, well, normally you throw a death scene looking thing into a trailer, everybody's going to know it's not the real one, that we're throwing them off. But because they're going to be thinking that, we're going to actually show it, and then like they'll be thinking it's not him, that's not going to happen, and then we keep it that way. That could be happening. Maybe James Gunn's playing with all our hearts and minds.
Yeah, it could be a double bluff. Yeah,
could be that double bluff kind of situation here. But like I do love the fact that we got Cosmo over here, like on the left-hand side. Like he's just a dog in space, man. That's just super awesome. Like get that stuff done. But yeah, man, let's go ahead because I had one more. Let's go ahead and break down this very last one. Let me get it.
I'm not sure if I've seen it. I might not have seen this one actually. So this might be the first time I'm seeing it.
Well, let's hit it.
Someday, I'm going to make great machines that fly. And me and my friends are going to go flying together.
Nice.
Into the forever and beautiful sky.
New dialogue. It looks like right after he got changed.
Some corners of the universe consider him God.
Who do you want me to kill?
The Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow, so Adam Warlock's being sent by
so much.
Drax, sit up!
What is here for?
Drax, let's go to the sofa. It's on a bed.
We're not going to talk about that.
We were criminals.
Friends. And then we became guardians.
All right, Guardians. Let's go save the galaxy.
Exactly, you idiots!
Oh, no.
Guardians. Everything you love shall be destroyed.
Kiss your mom with that face?
Not really.
Knock it off!
They probably don't even like it.
No.
You want me to drive?
No.
I'll drive.
I am Groot.
I know who you are already.
It really is good to have friends.
I will destroy the Guardians.
Nice. I really think I love this last little like basically teaser style trailer. Like at the very end here, it looks like maybe the last TV spot or whatever they're going to do. I love a little bit of they added. I don't think they gave away any more than what they had already gave away. Right. You know, there's a couple of lines in here that I really think hits the spot. A couple of moments in here. The way, if you noticed in this very last one, what's the one thing? I'm going to see if you're kind of on the same wavelength as me on this. What's the one thing that you think is missing in this final trailer out of the other two leading up to this movie?
In terms of like what's on screen, or like in terms of like the construction?
The whole thing, the ambience and the construction around it. Like, what do you think? I'll tell you what mine is, and maybe it's the same thing that you're thinking now because I brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even take a happy song and make it sad.
Yeah,
right, or slow it down.
Yeah,
like literally,
there's no pop song. There's no
yes
pop song that they're using for the background music. It's all orchestral stuff.
I like the fact that we get a little more background into the enemies here. We get a little bit of him, like she's saying that some people think he's a god. We now know Adam Warlock's going to be his evil self, right? Maybe he changes teams at some point on this because he's kind of floated around, I think, a little bit in the comic books. But he's not a cool guy.
Yeah.
But like you said, they still had some of the moments where we had a little bit of laughter. We had a little bit of moments. But like another thing I loved in this is like Groot saying, "I am Groot," and the way Gamora goes after him is not in the funny, jokey way. It's like she's actually irritated. It's that awkward, like if you were in the same room and that happened, everybody's looking at each other, quietly because they don't know what's going to happen afterwards.
Yeah. Totally. I like you said, there's no pop music behind it. It's all orchestral. It's pretty serious. It feels like like the type of like a mix between like a TV spot and like a final trailer, where they're giving us a lot of like sort of like sound bites to drive like the action and the narrative between things. Like we got our first few clips is at their pet. I forgot what the name of it is.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of this dude either.
Yeah,
like,
I know it'll be a large part of the film, but I know that's supposed to be a new character for them to be having around.
Mm-hmm. And like I like this scene right here. It kind of reminds you of the scenes they're obviously going to have problems. It's not really the same Gamora that he knew beforehand. She doesn't have those same memories that he does, you know. And then like maybe they're starting to like get to that moment and everything else. In the film, we got that moment where they're talking that we saw earlier, you know, but we get a different scene in that.
It's interesting. You could see in like a few snippets in this trailer, you could see Nebula's new arm in action. Like she has an arm that can like apparently change it to like a cannon or like a blade.
Exactly. And one of the scenes I was trying to get to here, because I just wanted to say like my final piece about like the movie coming up. There's Adam Warlock trying to kick some ass, man.
Yeah.
He's out there doing the deed. You know what I'm saying? Is it maybe after, because like you said, every one of these had, no, I think it was before this. So yeah, but there's a scene, I'll just go ahead and say it because I couldn't find it right there. But there's a scene where they're looking at each other, they're sitting down next to each other, and he looks at her, you know, he like Peter Quill, Star-Lord, looks at Gamora and says, "I miss you."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, she's there with him. But the thing is, he misses her, not her, but the other one that had those memories with him and stuff that he like fell in love with the first time, you know, and he's just hoping to like get that back and everything else. And like I think, like I said, that's got a lot of heart to it, a lot of meaning to it, right? You know, it's like you're sitting down next to your loved one or something that may be, you know, on their deathbed or something, and maybe they have something that they're not able to remember as well or something. And you're kind of looking at them and they're right there next to you. They're still here with you, but they're not who they once were. And you miss them for what they used to be. I think that is powerful. I don't want this movie to like have a big moment, have a big scene, have this bunch of, like I said, heart and very like deep connotation to it, but then destroy it with like nothing happens, like nothing makes you feel that moment, like and gives you that moment and pays that moment off, right? Like everybody survives and they're still joking at the end. Exactly. Like I don't want to feel that. Like when you get lines like that, I want them lines to stick. Like I want that to mean something at the very end of the film. So like I said, it's going to be fun to find out. We probably got some of those people that you were talking about, people that we know that was working with the Schmoedown and stuff like that, that are actually done watching the film now. We probably get off here and go on Twitter and probably get their reactions immediately to the film. I hope that people, this is one of those few movies, people. I hope people is not saying they walked out fist pumping. I hope people's not saying they walked out with a smile ear to ear. I hope people, when I go to their reactions, I hope they are saying I cried. I hope they're saying that I walked out with my head down. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we need those kind of stories to be told. That's one thing great about cinema. We got movies that make us laugh, make us cry, make us scared, whatever it is. We got all these different emotions, but that's the thing about movies, man. It makes you feel a good movie, regardless of the subject. When you walk out, if it makes you feel one of those like 3 to 4 huge emotions, like it did its job. That's what it's made to do. It's made for us to go and see a story, to go and escape from our world and feel a different kind of emotion than what we're feeling at the time, to take us out of what we have to go through every day. So like, I'm kind of excited for it. I can't wait.
Exactly. Same here. Like I really do care about these characters. I've grown to love them more as time has gone on. Even revisiting the second one, like there are elements of it I really do still love a lot. The jokes, some don't work as much, but like some I've gotten used to. But I'm really excited to get into this last film for this and experience it, and like and have like again hopefully a sense of finality to it. Like feel that they're getting a send off, not that it's just another drop in the bucket. That we can leave the theater with a sort of like resolution in our hearts for the characters and for the story. Obviously, they'll might be still be around in some regard, but that we can leave satisfied. That's gonna be like a very, very big opportunity to have a good experience like that.
Okay, man. Final. I just wanted to let you have a few seconds if you needed to. Like, we got to see this progression, and there's like decent amount of years in between from the volume 1, volume 2 to volume 3 of these trailers and everything. Like, anything that you noticed that maybe I wouldn't as a layman noticed for the trailers, the feel, the way they did things, the way they may have changed things about them, you know, maybe something we didn't talk about beforehand, or if you just wanted to give props where props is due for like the people that did these trailers and stuff like that, maybe even critique a couple of things if you want to before we get out of here.
Yeah, nothing beyond what we kind of discussed. Just the fact that, like, yes, like there is a clear progression. Like watching them all again, there's a evolution of the trailers, of like how they were constructed, how what they represent for like each film. Like, you know, like they do like really well represent like how the kind of sentiment, I think, of what James Gunn was going for with each one. Like, you know, the first one being a big introduction, a really fun one. The second one being kind of like a fun sport, like wider adventure. And this last one being like a very, very somber iteration in it. I think I'm obviously very, very, you know, impressed by the people who have been able to manage these trailers like over the last few years, for a decade. And I really do love the last two trailers for this movie, for the third one coming out now. I think it's they managed to get a good audience invested in characters that we, again, a decade ago, we had no idea who they were for the most part. Like, you know, it's impressive to see like how far these characters have come in the cultural zeitgeist in terms of like what people know about them, how they care about them, you know, cosplaying as them, dressing as them, having tattoos of them. There's like, yeah, it's gonna be crazy to kind of see this sort of end of an era coming soon.
Oh yeah, man, 100%. I totally agree with it. We traveled across the galaxy with the Guardians of the Galaxy from, you know, like you said, basically a decade of like trailers leading up to the movies and to the films. And this coming up week, we will get Volume 3 out in the movie theaters. Hope everybody that watched like stayed till the very end and loved and enjoyed like us talking about these trailers and stuff, and talking about the movies as well, as we went and progressed through these and what we hope to see coming out with a new film. Like I said, we're going to be doing different things with this show, Trailer Seekers. We're going to be like, you know, actually seeking some of the old school daddies. You know, I can't wait till we get closer to Halloween and we're doing some old school Freddy Krueger, like Nightmare on Elm Street, or like even like Halloween or Friday the 13th style trailers and stuff like that. I'll be super hyped for those kind of things, man. And like, it's things that we haven't seen in so long that it's going to be pretty crazy to see some of that, like in how we truly progress, right? Like as we go back further in time and watch a trailer, like, you know, everybody still does it. Even the young people still does it. The old movie voice, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, in a world where, you know, whatever, you know, like the things happening, like the deep voice guy, like being a voiceover throughout the whole entire like trailer. Like I can't wait to go back and kind of break some of those down and stuff like that and see the differences. But I had a lot of fun talking about these trailers with you, Eric, and like I said, man, I hope this is something great that we do going forward and have a really good time and stuff. If you watched it, please like, subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments of like what you saw, what you may have seen that we didn't see as we rewatched these trailers and took this journey. You know, like if you saw some things that like we didn't see, or noticed some things that we didn't notice and whatnot. Like it's going to be different. Like each show is going to be different because it's going to be a different style of movie, a different style of trailer, and a different thing that we're doing, right? Like, so we may put two things together, you know, or we just may stay like what we did with the Guardians of the Galaxy and stay in that one universe and everything else. So like we may have we talked about before this, like do what Deep Impact versus what was the other movie that happened in like the same year? Armageddon. Like two movies that are really closely to the same. We may actually watch the trailers for those movies, and maybe we can get a glimpse of why one movie made more money than the other one, right? Because I think trailers do have a decent like pull on the heartstrings and the purse strings of people as they watch them and stuff like that. I think there's more and more things to break down for trailers, and that's something that me and Eric's going to learn as we go through this right here as well. I think we may even learn more of whatever, but we also are going to have moments where I think Eric's talked about possibly not just doing movie trailers, but we may have we still have a show that we're doing here actually called Nostalgia Crackdown, where we still talk about like the Schmoedown, you know, bringing back some of the old stories and stuff and talking about them to this day. So maybe we take some of what Eric has done himself, watch it on screen with you guys, and actually break it down, and he can tell us like why he made a decision or why he did it this way and everything else.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah, once if you guys ever have an opening in the Nostalgia Crackdown, I would love to come on and break down some of the trailers, especially since I think where we're at now with like the re-rollout of the Schmoedown coming out on the Schmoedown Archive channel. Like I think my era of it will probably be coming up, I'd say within like another 2 months, I think. Then
like
they'll start getting to the point which I came in and like some of my promos started hitting the channel.
Yeah, super awesome, guys. But like I said, if you watch this, please like, subscribe. Also, Eric does a lot of things on another channel. If you want to, Eric, let them know about that channel, and they can go over there and like and subscribe over there as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me mainly on Video Drew's channel, where we do the Video Chronic Pop Culture Quiz every now and then. We just did one for Better Off Dead. We had a big one for Scream with Perry Nemiroff versus Janine the Machine. It's a super fun match. We're going to be doing more of those in the future when we can get some things scheduled. Other than that, we also have a podcast called Content Candy, where we do reviews of shows and other things like that. We're going to probably possibly doing a review for Guardians when it comes out next week. It's movie season, nice. Lots of stuff to talk about, so you can find us there, and also find me at Nerd Chronic across social media.
All right, man. Until next time, guys. Stay sexy.